Hi, this is Acting United. I'm here with Eva. We're just here to talk a little bit about her acting and career and everything she's done since, maybe get a little bit of advice. Eva, thank you so much for joining me today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Hi. Hi, this is your second video with Acting United.
Yes, it is.
Yes, how's it going?
Good. Going well. How are you?
Good. I'm well. I just wanted to keep this super informal because it's easy to be so formal in every single interview, and I'm sure you'll get that a lot in the future. So we got our socks, the shoes are off, and we are ready to go. So tell me a little bit about, we already had an introduction with you for the group video. Mm-hmm. I was wondering why you started acting. When you think of acting, what comes into your head?
Acting? Oh gosh. Verbs? Or can I just say words?
Yeah.
I guess challenge. Art. Dynamic. The word challenge just keeps coming. I'm trying to think of interesting things to say. But I mean, really, at the root of it, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that is fun for me, I guess. And it's something I enjoy doing. So.
Yeah. I don't know how much you want to share, but I know pilot season's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What are the main challenges that you're wanting to go up against and really hit? Because it sounds like you like a challenge.
Yeah. This will be my first pilot season in Los Angeles, which is pretty daunting in itself. Because you never know what you're going to get. I guess more than anything, you don't know what you're walking into. It's all, and I'm so lucky to have some incredible management and, be part of a great, agency and have awesome representation, which is a big part of, doing the thing and going to California and being a part of pilot season. I don't know what to expect as much as I'd like to, but it's part of the fun.
As far as people who watch this and who've never had an acting career, maybe are interested in having an acting career, what are some things they can expect, and what are the things that it sounds like? Have you done this before? Go to LA for a pilot season?
I've been in LA for a pilot season before, but not participated in it. So it's different because it's one thing. It's not just something where you can show up and be like, "Hi, I'm here. I want to be a part of this." The industry is very, I don't know, but it's very good at keeping people out, and that's because there's just so many people that want to break out in this industry, and you can take everyone, but it's different to be participating in pilot season and just be in LA for a pilot season. They're two different things. So this was my first time when I'm going to be actively participating and auditioning and meeting with people. So
yeah. So the new thing is auditions and how they go. And is that what was missing last time? Is just auditioning and going for it?
Yeah. Well, I was in school. Last time I was in LA during pilot season, so that really was taking up most of my time. I wasn't really focused on going out for things and doing that. I was more focused on the academic side, but. Yeah, it'll be different. That I won't be in school. I'll be hopefully auditioning as much as I can. That's kind of where the I don't know comes in. Is I've been told by my reps, one day you might do nothing, and the next day you're not going to come home till you're going to leave in the morning and not come home till the end of the night. But and just kind of building relationships with casting directors and sort of getting my face out there since I'm relatively unknown.
Yeah, there are so many questions I have for you after hearing all of that. First off. As far as going to school and acting, what are your opinions on that? Because I hear so many different points of views. Some people say to go to college. Some people say if you're acting, you don't need to go to college. What are your opinions?
I think it's definitely a case-by-case situation in that it's different for what you want as a person, when you want to break out and when you want your time to be. When you think because some people, some people become, get into acting when they're 40, and some people get into it when they're 8. So it's kind of how you want to introduce yourself. And I guess for me, I found, I got a role. I got into sort of into the business at a relatively young age before college. And I was kind of stuck at this point where I was all right, am I going to go to school or am I going to be an actor? And I tried to do both, and I found that that's not the best idea to do at the same time. You're either going to
one or the other.
Again, this is just my personal experience, but to be a working actor and be in college, to me, was impossible because it requires your schedule to be so like kind of crazy and different. And with school, you have to go to class. You can't just not show up, or at least the school that I went to. But yeah, and I think so. If you're going to go to school and do that and get your degree in whatever you choose to get your degree in. But I will say that as far as casting directors are concerned, 99% of the time they don't care where you got your degree from. They want to see if you can act. They're like, great, can you act? Like, as long as you've had some training and you're good, that's what they care about. They want a performer who can perform, not, they don't care if you came from Harvard or whatever. So it's kind of a double-edged or double-sided situation, depending on what you want to go into. But if it's acting, I've found that for me, I feel like I'm ready to be a working actor and try that path before I go back to school.
So they want someone who's good at their job and who can do the job.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, and I think training is important, and that's not to say that like, oh, you don't have to go to acting classes. Like, you should learn. You should find a mentor and perfect your craft and constantly be working on your craft, because that's very important. But in a university setting, for me, that just didn't work out. I was mixing my art with my academics, and it was just kind of, I'd never really done that before, and it didn't feel right to me. So yeah, that's why I decided to take a different path.
Totally understandable. Where'd you go to school?
I went to school at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California.
Awesome.
It was a wonderful experience, and I loved everyone there, and made nothing but great friends, and everyone who, the professors are wonderful. It just wasn't where I needed to be at that time.
Sure. And now you're in North Carolina. Is that why you're here now? Because you didn't want to mix school and acting? Just trying to bridge the dots.
I'm back here because I promised myself I wasn't going to go back to LA until I was asked to. Because I found from being in LA, showing up, that doesn't really do much for you. You have to be wanted there, basically, to make any forward momentum, at least in my experience. I mean, there are obviously exceptions, but I'm back here because I don't really, in this day and age with like self-taping and all the, equipment we use, it's easy to self-tape for auditions in Atlanta. I can drive to Atlanta. I have family there. So yeah, like if I book a job in Atlanta, I just drive over to Atlanta, and it's easy where I'm at right now financially to be here living, where I grew up, and it makes the most sense. But, now I'm going to LA. So
yeah,
but for just, chunks of time.
That makes total sense. I hear all the time, you have to go to LA, but I've also heard, don't go until you're called there. And you phrased it in the way like you're asked, you're invited.
In a way. I mean, it sounds so like high and mighty. It's just like, you can go to LA and you can scramble and you can audition for a little, and work your way up. That's a way to do it. But it's not the way that I felt that I would be best for me, because I already have a bit of an establishment in Atlanta. Like, I have a name that I've booked a couple things out there. So people are like, oh, that girl. Like, yeah, sure, she's cool. But in LA, nobody knows. So it would be like starting over, and I'd rather use what I've built here and kind of trickle that over to the Los Angeles market, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Totally. Just for people who have no clue what it means to be like invited, explain that a little bit. Like, what does that mean? Like, is it management? Is it finding a manager?
That's what mine was. I mean, it's one thing if you book, like, you can book something from the middle of nowhere and fly out to LA. And be like, okay, come to LA, you have to because you're working here. But I mean, it wasn't like, an official invitation or anything. It was more, I got a new manager. They were excited about, this upcoming pilot season. They said, we both recognized, okay, this is kind of my time to go for it. And they said, we'd love, self-tapes are great. They're awesome. You can self-tape from anywhere, but there is something to be said about walking into the room and being with those people and having them meet you as a person and shake their hand. And you just, rather than just looking at, their iPad or whatever they're looking at and watching your tape, actually meeting these people and forming relationships.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a bit. Walking into the room, what are some tips that you can give to the people watching if they're interested in auditioning and acting?
For auditions, like in-person audition tips,
yeah,
don't get offended if no one looks at you, or if like literally they just are like, hello, do your thing, and they don't look up, because they've seen about like 100 people and they're tired. And I mean, it's not always going to be the warmest environment, and sometimes it will be. Sometimes, I walked in auditions where everyone's, I've shaken everyone's hand, they're smiling, they're giving feedback. It's great. I don't feel like I'm being rushed in and out. And then I've been other ones where there's like one person behind a camera. they action, you do your thing, they're like, thank you, and then you leave. And it's kind of discouraging, but sometimes you end up getting a callback for those, or, you just don't let other people affect your performance who aren't involved in your scene. If you have also don't let your reader, and which is hard because sometimes the readers are
so hard,
not the best because they're not actors. They're people that were, in the room. They're like, okay, you look relatively like the character, so just read. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
But you have to really train yourself to not let that affect you in your performance.
It's so hard.
Oh, yeah.
I've had readers be like, I love you. I want to be with you forever. And it messes up the flow, messes up the rhythm.
Or they read your line and you're just like, no.
What's your advice for that? Like, how to best... You said don't let it affect you, but what about like keeping the character and keep it going?
Not control, but like, keep them focused on you. Keep yourself in the room and,
keep yourself present.
Keep yourself present and tell if someone messes up and messes you up really bad, like call them on it. Don't be rude about it, but just be like, hey, do you mind if we do that again? That was my line. Or, would you mind doing it this way or giving me a bit of a pause? And that I feel shows to the director, to the, whoever you're performing for, that you can recognize these mistakes and like fix them. Because otherwise it just looks like a bad take. They're like, oh, that was horrible.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, well, I know, but they don't know it wasn't your fault, so it's more like if you have questions, if you don't know what something is, if there's a new scene that you like didn't read before, like ask, like, I didn't get this, or, something like that, because more times than not, they'll be totally, accepting of it and help you out or redo the take, and then you'll come out with something better than you would have if you just kind of hunched over and took it.
Yeah. Do you talk a little bit about owning a character, like what to do if you're coming in with something new, or you've never met these people, and you're coming in with a script that maybe you got the same day or the same week? What is your number one tip for just having confidence with that?
Have an established process. And I think that's different for everybody, how you choose to train, how whoever you have as your mentor is going to give you a different, their way of, analyzing a script and creating a character. And I don't think there's one way to do it. I mean, there's a million ways to do it, and then people do it so many different ways, and a lot of them have success in different ways. Mm-hmm. But having that process is very important, and being able to get a script, and instead of just like panicking and being like, oh, what do I do? I have 24 hours till I'm going to go tape this, to be like, okay, sit down and have your steps that you're going to do and do them and get them done. And then don't stress so much about it and like keep going. Because sometimes you just got to do the work and then just let it sit and think about it.
Do the work, let it sit, have a process.
Yeah.
So as far as your auditions, do you remember your audition for The Boss and what that was like?
Yeah, kind of. It was a while ago. There was a lot of auditions. I self-taped the first two. And got callbacks for those, and it was
2 callbacks for tapes
and then 2 in-person callbacks. It was a lot. I think they were a little afraid because my resume at that point was like community theater, like nothing. Okay. So it was kind of like, who is this girl? Like, we like her, but I don't know. So it was, 1 tape, and they're like, all right, call back. Gosh. And then another tape, and I just remember sitting in with John, and like, he was, giving me notes and stuff, and that was the first time that I was like, I get this girl. Like, I get this character, like, I'm gonna get this part. Like, I know I can. Because I got it. Like, I finally, before you think you know what you're doing, and then you have a breakthrough, and you're like, oh, wow. I've been missing that the whole time. But for this one, when I went for that first in-person callback, I was like, I wasn't as, I was really nervous, but I felt confident in my ability to show them what I had. And also when I walked in there, I was the only like blonde girl too. Everyone else was like a foot taller than me and had like jet black hair and like really thick eyes. Yeah, I was not what they were looking for at all. But it was just funny to see, like, even if the odds are stacked against you, like, if you come in there with something interesting and something, in this case, it was comedy. Like, my goal was to walk in there and make Melissa McCarthy laugh. Like, that was what I was focused on. And a lot of it was improv for the
So she was there.
She was there for the second one. The first one was the director, her husband, and then like some producers that I didn't really know at the time. And I just walked in there like 15. I'm like, hi, shaking everyone's hand.
You had to improv in front of Melissa McCarthy.
I did, and they told me about 5 minutes before. The casting director came up to me and she's like, sweetie, you're gonna have to improv for like 5-ish minutes. Just she'll work with you. Just like, just be the character. Like, you got this. We all love you. And I was like, okay.
We all love you. Just do it.
And she was so sweet though. That was the best part, is like, the farther along you get, the more you get to know these people and the more they seem human rather than just like these people sitting behind this desk judging you while you act.
For us.
Yeah, well then, as you move forward, they know you more as a person, or as an actor, not as a person. But, and so she was, walking me in the room, like, you got this, like, go kill it.
Nice.
And because, they want you to succeed. They want you to be great so they can hire you and the movie will be good. Like, that's the goal. They don't want you to be bad. So I was like,
they don't want you to be bad.
No, they don't.
Freak out. Even if they're looking at their scripts, they still want to find someone to make the movie the best they can. It just possibly can be.
Yeah.
And
make them look up. That's the thing. You gotta make them look up. Yeah.
Yeah. But still stay in character, because that's really important. That's really important.
Yeah.
So you improv'd in front of Melissa McCarthy for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and it's kind of lucky because my character was very, like, kind of a one-line kind of gal. She didn't really, like, talk the punchline. Not, just, like, really, like, kind of snarky comments that would, I don't know, a woman of very few words, I guess. So it was pretty easy because I would just listen and respond, and half of it was just sitting there looking like I wanted to punch someone, because that was who this girl was. But yeah, and I just remember, that was the best part, because I remember leaving, and I was like, I don't even care if I get the part. I just got to improv with Melissa McCarthy, and I was dancing with my mom in the parking lot, and we were like so happy, just because it was just so fun. And for the first time, I was like, I really feel like I got it, And I would have paid money to learn improv with Melissa McCarthy, and I just got to walk into a room and do it. And then, yeah.
Was this in LA?
No, this is in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot to do in Atlanta.
Yes.
There's a lot to do in Atlanta. And it's a growing industry, and yeah, so we just drove down there. It was a lot of driving back and forth, but it was worth it in the end, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because she got the part, just like, yeah.
They called me on the car ride home. Remember that?
What?
I was learning how to drive, like, and my mom's in the passenger seat, and she, like, picks up the phone, she's like, you got it. And I was like, trying not to crash the car, because I still had my, like, permit driver's license, but, yeah.
Was it your agent on the phone? It was your mom?
Yeah, it was John, and I think they called my phone, but my mom picked it up because I was driving, and oh my gosh. So
wait, did you like swerve? Like, how did you handle that if you're just learning?
I think I just like screamed. Just like, I don't know. I kind of knew though. I kind of was like, or I didn't know, but it was just, I was just like, I know I did really well in that audition, And sometimes I come out of auditions and I'm like, I don't know what just happened. Like, I just blacked out. But for that one, I was like, I had a good time. I was in it. I find that if I don't remember everything about it, it's a good thing, because I'm not like focused too much. So I was like, all right, that went well. I feel good about this experience. And so I was in
so many things.
Yeah.
You were in what?
I was just in this space of like calmness and like at peace with what happened. So no matter, even if I got, if we didn't get a call, and it's because there was huge gaps of time in between these callbacks. At one point there was like almost a month. And I was like, okay, whatever, I didn't get it, moving on. But you gotta just keep moving along.
Yeah. It's so different. I hear so many different things. Like, Heath Ledger, when he auditioned for A Knight's Tale, like, he thought he blew it. He, like, walked out of the room, but then they hired him. Yeah. And then for years, you felt so calm. Does that always happen when you get a role? Like, do you always feel that way?
I'm still trying to figure that out, to be honest. I don't think there's really, it's also not like, I haven't booked a huge list of things either, so I don't have, a ton of stuff to be like, oh, I felt this way for this one and that way for this one, but it's never the same. Like, you think like, oh, if I feel this way, then it means it went well, or this way, but at the end of the day, you don't see your own performance, and you're not, I never have, at least. They don't show you like what you did after you do it. So I'm still figuring that out too. Sometimes you just gotta, I think the most important thing is to have a clear mind about it and not get hung up not get too hung up on like one certain part, or just because it can mess with you psychologically if you let each like rejection really feel like a rejection. You're not gonna last very long, which is sad. But like, it seems so intense, but it's true, and it's not really a rejection. It's just kind of like, this wasn't for you, you know, you're not there yet, and that's fine. Like, yeah, there you go.
Redirect.
You know, it's could be, you know, you just didn't fit this part. Your strengths were not shown in this audition, or, you know, maybe you messed up. Everybody messes up.
Everybody.
So, but yeah, you have to think of it that way, unless it's like, oh, I hate me, I'm terrible at this, you know, because it's half the time it's not what it was. It's just somebody else was better. Didn't mean you're bad. But
that's so true. Always keep that in mind. Be positive. Then you can just go into the next audition with a clear head.
Yes.
One thing you said really interests me. Do you black out during your audition?
Not like black. Just like I've definitely come out of them before and be like, and my mom would be like, oh, how'd it go? And I'm like, I have no idea what I just did in there. Like, I know I said the lines and like maybe, you know, did the thing, but I don't really remember each.
Like hyper-focused.
Yeah, like I'll walk in, I remember shaking everyone's hand, smiling, hello, and then go. And then it's like, and like, how do you think you did? And I'm like, I really don't know. But yeah. And I think part of that's nerves and part of that's like me not being me for a little bit, but like,
yeah, for sure.
It doesn't always happen, and sometimes I feel like I can do good and I remember everything, but I mean, like I said, I'm still figuring it out.
Yes. And what do you feel about there's this quote, or maybe I've just been thinking it. Never quit learning in your craft.
Oh yeah.
Would you say that that's a big part of like, it's always learning? Or what do you feel about that? Like, does Meryl Streep still learn? Like, does she?
I don't know Meryl Streep, but I mean, I think it's very important to keep, you know, improving yourself in acting and in life and in, you know, you just can't no one is ever to the point where like, okay, I am a perfect human being and I am perfect at this and perfect, like, no.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, you know, the beauty of it is that you can always keep going. And that's one thing I try to explain to like, to my friends sometimes when I'm explaining how it is to be an actor and how this as a job is like, it's the only job where or one of the only jobs where people are constantly questioning your ability to do your job. You know, you have a job, you're making money, great, and then all of a sudden you don't, and you have to prove yourself again that you can do this because it's different every time.
Every time,
yeah.
Even Meryl Streep has to prove herself.
Yeah, I mean, probably less so at this point because she's just amazing and a very established actor, but yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if she still didn't, you know, do things to improve herself and her craft and discover new things every time.
I know. That's why actors like that are so inspiring to me. Mm-hmm. I think there was some interview she did where she was like, I walked into this set and I just had to prove myself because on every set there's new people who are wondering if you really are as good as everyone says you are. So it's constantly having to reprove yourself, which is kind of weird. I think it's, like you said, the only craft that does that. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like stereotypes come into play with that? Or have you ever... we're both pretty new in the way the industry works, but do you feel like typecasting is something you'll have to worry about in the future? Are you worried about it? How do you feel about maybe getting out of those? If someone has like a typecast that they're in right now, maybe some advice?
I think and not to get too like political here or anything, but as a white female, you know, I have this industry to a degree caters to me a little more than it does to some of the, you know, more minority actors who are much more often typecast into roles that are pretty boxed up. I mean, like, I'm never going to get an audition for like I don't know what a good example would be, but I don't feel like I run into that issue very much because I've sort of, with the role in The Boss of this like sort of, you know, tough character, I broke out of the whole little blonde girl idea. So I don't feel that I've been typecast very much, but I definitely know people who feel very frustrated with the fact that they're only getting roles for like gangsters or like bouncers or, you know, something that's just,
I know people like that too.
You see their face and they're like, oh, you're that, and then they're like, well, no, I have more things to offer. But I think that happens less so to me. I haven't really had many issues with typecasting, but I think that it's a different thing entirely for people who have done similar types of roles over and over again. Like girls who have played mean girls or girls who have, you know, always played the like little sweet girl. Like you see them as that person. Like Joey from Friends. He's always going to be Joey from Friends.
Yeah.
And probably not, you know, every movie or everything he ever does, oh, that's Joey from Friends, you know? So it's kind of like, which is, you know, great and also a bit of a prison in the same sense. But I'm not there yet. I haven't experienced that very much.
What could someone do differently as an actor to set themselves apart?
Like from what I've done, or from like
maybe in your own experience, because everyone's going to have different experiences and answers to this question. In your experience, what can someone do in an audition room to set themselves apart?
Make interesting choices, I guess. And that sounds so like, duh. But I mean, you're going to get the script, and then there's going to be a million people who do the exact same thing, and you want to be the person that does something different while still making it seem like a good choice and not just totally out of the box and out of the character. But these people are sitting at their table and they see tons of people come in, and they don't want to see the same thing over and over. They want to see something interesting.
Yeah.
If you can give them that, if you can give them something that they haven't seen already, and you never know what that is, so it's kind of like an endless battle.
Yeah. But something not stereotypes. So,
yeah, and there's no like concrete answer for that, but yeah, I think what can you do differently? That's a question to ask yourself based on the script, and what you've been given and what you haven't been given, and what can you do to make this as interesting as possible for these people that are watching you.
Yes.
Yeah.
One last question. What made you change, or what was the change from community theater to suddenly film? What was the journey? I didn't really start acting until, professionally, like midway through high school. In what way?
Well, The Boss. I got The Boss my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I was little.
I'm forgetting how young she is, people.
But, it kind of happened pretty fast. Like, I had been singing for a while and doing that sort of, and I just always loved the performance aspect of it. So when in high school, I was like, you should do theater. My friends really wanted me to do theater. So I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And I really enjoyed it. And then through a previous contact I had from like middle school, one of my teachers who I did like a play with, it was like, hey, there's this, acting co-op in town. Do you want to come to the open house? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I like didn't really get how serious this was. And I came from like gymnastics or something, and I was in my little like warm-ups, like, okay, this is fancier than I expected. But I was like, whatever, I'll just walk in and shake some hands and say hi. And I met John, who's now my agent and my mentor. And
John is pretty great.
Yeah, he's awesome. And he said, I'd love to see you come in and read. Like this, like after talking to him for 5 minutes, which was kind of a surprise. And I was like, okay. So I came in and I read this little scene for him a couple days later, and he said, I'd love to get you on board at the agency. And at the time I was like very skeptical because I didn't really know very much about this, but I knew that I had a mutual friend or like my teacher, who I trusted. And I was like, all right, if he's in this, I think I can trust this guy. Yeah. So I went with it, and you have to be very careful about those situations. There's a lot of people out there that are going to tell you, oh, I'm going to make you famous, oh, I'm going to do this, but here, give me $2,000 for this. And you should never pay your manager or your agent unless you book, if you book a job, they get a percentage of that. That's how they make money. But if they ever ask you like, oh, it's a $2,000 joining fee, like, no, that's a scam.
Yes. Keep that in mind. Don't pay your agent any money up front, like thousands. That's just, it's not ethical. It's no.
Yeah. And so then I started taking classes with John and, with the director's class with John, and just kind of auditioning and getting the feel of things. And I was, at the time very, very new and not very good at this, but I think he saw something in me which I didn't really see in myself at first, which was very amazing, and I thank him for that. But I found it eventually, and I was like, okay, yeah, I know, I really love this.
What is it?
I don't think there's just the
belief in yourself, the confidence. I don't know,
like it's just an artistic eye and the resilient. I feel like I'm patting my own back here a little bit. But
finding a character.
Yeah, I had no idea how to do that when I walked in there, but just the ability to I could show emotion. I could, make interesting choices, like I was saying.
Acting.
He gave me this scene, and I was pretty funny in it, but I made it. I got laughs, so I was like, okay, I did well. I didn't totally blow it, but I would never want to see that tape again. If I ever see that tape again, I will.
I wonder if he still has it.
He probably does. There's tapes of all my auditions, and I had to look through them once to create a reel. or not an official reel, but like that someone wanted to see what I did, just auditions, and I was just like, this is tough. I feel like you're always your own worst critic, and if you're not, then, you know, you should be. It's necessary, though, to see yourself and recognize those mistakes and how to improve.
Exactly. Yeah. So any other advice for anything you can think of for the kids, kids watching at home?
Like we want to be actors.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a different path for everybody. Never compare yours to someone else's because they're all going to be different. Don't expect success immediately, and it's a rewarding job if you let it be and if you have fun with it and take your rejections in stride and your victories also in stride, and
yeah. So thank you for watching. That's the end of our video. Click the bell down below to get notifications, subscribe, and check out our latest videos. Thank you for joining me, Eva.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and go check out The Boss. It's a great movie. She's in it. And keep a lookout for everything she does in the future. Thanks for watching.